Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads Down. We are back for yet another match of the Sevens. This one has big implications. That wasn't quite the word, but New Zealand, they are taking on England. If New Zealand win, they will book themselves a spot in the final up against Australia. That is the quarterfinal, that is. And then if they are victorious here, England, I don't think it changes too much, but more than likely Samoa will end up facing up against or actually, to be fair, New Zealand might miss out on that top qualifying spot by the looks of it. And go England, says Derek there. But in the starting lineup for the Kiwis, it will be Scott Curry, Tony Unshu, Rocco Lesoa, Sam Dixon, Caleb Tangitau, Joe Webber, and Sione Molia. Then looking through for England, it is Jamie Adamson, Alex Davis, the captain, Jamie Barden, Tom Bowen, Freddie Roderick, Will Homer, and Api Bavadra. Now, very unlucky not to score in the first match. Bavadra, he's a beast out on the wing, but it's in the hands of the Kiwis currently as they did receive the kickoff. And Sione Molia has been dragged down. He was able to score 2 tries in the opening fixture for the Kiwis. Oh, Rocco Lesoa's just maybe twisted the ankle there. Unfortunately, he did end up slipping big time. Scott Curry now looking both ways. He gives it off to Joe Webber, who looked like he was going to be kicking that one for half a second. And also welcome to the Kiwi Lads, says Nathan too. It was a nookie there. Now good work in the breakdown from England. Joe Webber, though, taking it off. Now gives it off to Caleb Tangitau on the inside. He was sensational in the last match for the Kiwis up against Samoa. He really had an impact. It was held there by New Zealand. A little knock on from England, though. That would have been almost accidental offside on the Kiwis. And Roddick, I think, is complaining about that one, saying maybe it could have been a penalty our way, Mr. Referee. 1 minute into the contest, New Zealand now have got themselves the scrum feed. But Scott Curry, great low tackle made on him by Adamson, drove back his opposite number in the tackle. And Roddick tried to take the quick tap, but unfortunately did end up losing it. And also New Zealand 27-18 for England, says Faisatara, and go the Poms. Says Norm there as well. Rocco Lesoa feeds the ball and now looking to the short side. There was a bit of space opening up. Now looking to sell the dummy on the inside. Nice work from Rocco Lesoa. Somehow keeps himself in the field of play, or does he? It's a penalty now for the player not rolling away. Sam Dixon takes that one quickly. Wasn't on the mark, though. Seems like New Zealand want to play this game at an absolutely frantic pace here up against England. But England, as long as they keep themselves in this contest, they can actually stop New Zealand from having the easier game you would consider in the next round. Whoever wins this game, for New Zealand's sake, that is, if New Zealand win, they will be facing up against the Aussies. If they lose, they will be facing Kenya. And the question is, what is the easier game in that group? Let's go, England. You got this, says Nathan there as well. That's going to be the penalty to New Zealand once again for not rolling away. Tony Unshu takes it quickly. Rocco Lesoa now across the Webber. 22 metres out. Sione Molia with the mistake. And go Tara Flap, Bush Boy in Finland, says Norm there. And also we have got Go England, says John Mull. New Zealand, another mistake. So a few handling errors. I did actually mention in their very first game, they also had quite a few sneaking in. Api Bavadra, I think the first thing England need to do when they have this ball is get it to that man. He makes meters in his sleep, I'm sure. Might be quite the sleepwalker, but he is quick, dangerous, and I think he's going to score a try in this game. Will Homer feeds the ball in for England onto the 22 now. Bowen, ball on the outside, looking crispy for England in the early stages of this match. Alex Davis, the captain of England, wouldn't mind causing an upset just before we get to the quarterfinal stages. Will Homer dragged down, offload up into the hands of Roddick. A lot of pressure on him by Sione Molia and Sam Dixon, and he wins the penalty for the Kiwis as well. Looks to take the quick tap for Sam Dixon. Still 0-0 after 3.5 minutes. Quite an even stalemate. We have seen a lot more possession for New Zealand, but quite a good defensive bit of work from the English. Taking the quick tap now across to Molia. Webber, a few of the experienced players in this New Zealand lineup. Rocco Lesoa, a ball on the outside could be available for Caleb Tangitau, if he decides to use it, but instead gets driven down by Bavadra, who causes the counter ruck and also the knock on from New Zealand. And now it is scrum feed in favour of the English. Brilliant work there. Bavadra, he's got the crowd on the feet at the moment for the way that he's playing here. They want to cause one upset. England, throughout the first 2 matches, they have been slightly disappointing, and they will admit that. But this game now, if they win against New Zealand, that certainly proves something heading into the next round, as they will actually have their quarterfinal playoff games for 9th to 16th. And England would love to be closer to that 9th than the double figures. And go New Zealand, says Blue Diamond, or Demond, I think it is in there as well. Nice work from Joe Weber, dragging Alex Davis down low. Bit of extra pressure on Roddick. I think the hands went down for Joe Weber, but he's won the penalty. And let's go, says Merelita, and go Mangare in there as well, says it was there from Nathan. And also Demon in there as well, says Blue Demon. Now Roka Lisoa back across 22 metres out now for New Zealand with only 2 minutes left of this first half, but now it's starting to free up a little bit more. Joe Weber with a good attack and run ball on the outside to Caleb Tangitau. Has to leave the ball so that he doesn't go into touch, but in the process has ended up with Roddick ending up with a ball for England. Has New Zealand qualified for the quarterfinals? They certainly have. It's just a question of whether they will be playing Australia or they will be playing Sri Lanka. And also we have got there, Jashintha has set go Sri Lanka. And there as well, they did pretty decently for their first ever competition. I thought Sri Lanka did look pretty strong. They aren't even classed as a professional sevens rugby team, but they did very nicely in their first games. Rockily So about to feed this ball in for the Kiwis. 1 minute 30 left, 15 out from the goal line. And New Zealand will continue that attack. Will Homey was tackled low initially from Sam Dixon, but Adamson, unfortunately with his hands going down, it did mean that it did create the sealing off penalty. Rockily Soa feeds the ball in now out the back. Rockily Soa now goes off to Caleb Tangitau. They have numbers on the outside. It's in the hands of Weber. He tries to step. Bowen's trying to stop him. Weber reaches, and I think he might have just had it by half an inch. And you have Sri Lanka in the house, says Nathan there, and also try, says Blue Demon there. Right, they are going to check this one. One of the English players I heard calling for double movement. How close is this? Oh, I think that's just... Now, that's the thing. If I had a New Zealand eye patch on, I would say that that's on the line. If I had my neutral eye patch on, I would say that that is, if anything, just half an inch short, and then just a little bit more might have been needed for him. So if it's on-field, no try, I think that will be the way that it stands. And please say hi, and I will sub. Says Samuel, so shout out to you, Samuel. Hope you are doing well. Let's go. Says Blue Diamond, Kiwi. Just half a bit on the white line, I think. They are going to award the try for on the line. Alex Davis is not happy with that one, but just half a smidgen over. Probably leaving it pretty close for Joe Weber. Thanks you, says Samuel there as well. No worries. And now Weber claims that try, and also when is the quarterfinal, says Milliliter. So the first quarterfinal that we will be seeing is at 7:22 a.m. New Zealand time tomorrow morning. So it is just a little bit more time till we get into those quarterfinals. Whereas George says, Gabe Grace, he actually went home after the first 3 women's matches. He did end up heading home. Caleb Lai watching on for the Kiwis here. Yes, seen herself on the screen. Tyler Nathan Wong also there with her partners for this one. And also we have got there about the quarterfinal, but there is also the women's semi-final is taking place a little bit earlier, about 4:30 a.m. It's when that one will be taking place. And go Ireland, says John there. And George going to grab us KFC, my guy, says Nathan. Now, I mean, I wouldn't put it past him. He does sometimes take a late night trip to K Fry, but it's taken nicely by Jamie Adamson, breaking out of the tackle of Scott Curry. And now the space starts to open up. Brilliant tackle by Caleb Tangitau. He is one of the up-and-coming young talented players for the Kiwis. Bavadra just finds it into the hands of Emery, who's under a huge amount of pressure from Caleb Tangitau. Knees at the ground. That is the halftime siren. Bavadra passes back across. Can England get one before we get to the end of the first half? It was unsuccessful in the conversion. Go Ireland, says John Bell there. And also England will win this by 2, says Ali. And the prediction, Bavadra finds the offload up. Nice work. Now on the outside, Davis, the skipper. Can he get around once again? Bumped off there, Scott Curry. Quite a few missed tackles throughout this match for him, whereas Tangitau has not missed too many at all. Good work from New Zealand, dragging him down 5 metres out, but it's going to be the penalty now in favour of England. Alex Davis steps. He's 1 metre short of the line. Adamson looks round the side. He's just short once again. England trying to get through. Or did Davis knock it on? He did. Unfortunately for England, that is just at the end of the first half. New Zealand survive, and they will be 5-0 going into the second half. And also he loves Amelia Kerr from India, says the Ninja Dude. And also we have got there And the chat as well, come on, England, says Nathan. And go, Harry, says Elian Wu, says Blue Demon. He's disappointed there, Jamie Adamson. Boy, he was close to getting that one down, but sadly just manages to miss it for himself as well. But the next game that has taken place, it will actually be South Africa versus Scotland, I believe. Or actually, sorry, we have got another game before that, and that will be the game taking place between Tonga and Malaysia. We are also covering that one on the channel. And Scott Curry has the pits, says Gabe Grace, and who loves New Zealand women's from India, says the Ninja Dude. And also, I think she's half a cuzzy, says it was Nathan there as well. And also, does India play rugby? A little bit, not hugely high on the rankings, unfortunately, but they still dabble a little bit, I guess is the best way of putting it. Like, if I brought up the world rankings, I would think India probably about 70th in the world, somewhere around there, maybe a little bit higher. In fact, while we are at halftime, I am going to have a look and see where they are on the World Rugby rankings for Union. That is World Rugby rankings. There we go, what we can find out. Hopefully it doesn't take too long to load. And the India drink stuff. And then I was like, yay, India and Sri Lanka, too good for India. So the updated rankings show the full table. We're going to get to see exactly where they are sitting. Okay, I'm down to 40. I haven't seen them yet. I see that Sri Lanka are 47th in the rankings, and India are 85th in the rankings. Anyway, whereas Georgie has gone home. You heard his feeling, Ninja Dude. No, it was just late, so he did end up heading home. And England will be back, says Ali. Yeah, they are nowhere near out of this contest yet. 5 points to 0. And Georgia KFC, says Nathan there as well. But New Zealand, they will be kicking off this second half. The child does not look too happy at the moment, as he wants to see more tries from the Kiwis. We see a few of the Kiwi women's side. And there, Portia Woodman, she is there. Tyler Nathan Wong also. I think it was Shrey Kaka in the background there. And who is Georgie is one of the other Kiwi lads. He was here for the women's rugby matches a little bit earlier on. I think France is number 1 in World Rugby, says Samuel. Although I think actually Ireland might have taken that number 1 spot and then France in second. Or are they actually still number 1 at the moment? I know that Ireland got very close, didn't they? And King George in there, says Nathan. Now Rokali Soa. About to be there. Come on, Kiwi, says Rithik. Gone into touch there. Good kick from Rokali Soa. He's had a pretty prominent role throughout this matchup for the Kiwis. He's missed one conversion, as that is the only one that we have seen. New Zealand 4th, I think, says Blue Demon. And also, Kiwi lads, I reckon, want to hang out with you one day, says Ollie in there. And also, come on, Kiwi, says Rithik. Rokali Soa about to throw it in. 7 minutes left of the second half. New Zealand only up by 5. Tony Nshu gets it 5 meters out. Brilliant play from New Zealand, deciding to risk it by going short. Now Rokali Soa. One more pass. Caleb Tangitau goes to the corner, shunts off Davis, uses his strength, and does manage to score the try in the process as Dan Speedster, a guy who's playing Fit England, says annoyed. So that would be Dan Norton, and unfortunately has retired from the Sevens, but he's got a massive opportunity because he is actually going to be coaching the China Sevens side. So that is actually where he is kind of ended up. He's going to be trying to coach up China, turn them into a well-oiled machine. But yeah, did retire, I think it was 2 competitions ago, or maybe just the last one. And do you like F1? I do enjoy watching it. I don't know a lot about it, but one of my friends, Isaac, he is probably the guy to talk to about F1. And we have actually talked about doing some live streams with him in the past for Formula One. That is now 10-0 in favour of New Zealand, bro. England, Josh Butler is ICC T20 World Cup international captain. And then, what a shame he retired. Yeah, he was still brilliant. And you'd have to say he could still go with the best of them, but he did decide now was the right time to take his opportunity into the coaching role, as we do normally see with past players. Now, hit back onto the side of New Zealand, but it was Roddick who was able to jump on it. How's it going? Amish, you are my favourite YouTube ever. Cheers to you, best brother in the whole wide world, says Ollie. I do appreciate it a lot, mate. And Max Van Stuppen for World Champ 2022. And come on, New Zealand, says Steve Smith. And I know you will be absolutely buzzing for that game between South Africa and Scotland that is coming up relatively soon, mate. It's going to be a good one. I cannot wait. That was a weird accent, but I cannot wait for that game. But Vatra runs hard. Now, penalty to New Zealand. England wanted to take it quickly with Jamie Hyde. Then he was told, hang on, it's not your ball. Or in fact, sorry, it was Blake Boyland to try and take it quickly. Are you watching the F1 tonight? What time does it start, Blue Demon? I'm not actually too sure whereabouts it has taken place. And Rugby World Cup 2023 is coming up. It certainly is. Okay. The hands down, unfortunately for England, just trying to shut it off a little bit too much from the Kiwis. And Jamie Adamson actually penalised more than once for doing that. But Roka-Lisoa now puts it into touch. And it will be 4 minutes left of this first half, New Zealand. And what Sky Sport channel currently in New Zealand? We are watching on Sky Sport 1 for it. And also, should be a good one, Hamish says Steve Smith. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. See how they do go. And the best thing is, we have a little bit of a break afterwards. So strategically, I'm going to end up putting something in the air fry just before Fiji versus Wales. And then it will be ready after that game, which is quite cool as well. But I think I'm more excited for the rugby rather than the food at this point, even though I am starting to get a little bit peckish. And what ranked is Uganda in the World Rugby Sevens? I think they're actually, I want to say they're about 20. If they are taking part in that Challenger Series, they may be actually a little bit lower than that, but they are an up-and-coming nation in the Sevens, that is for sure. And I'll check, says Samuel. And have you went to Palmerston North? I love that city. I actually have. It was a long time ago, but my sister actually currently lives in Palmerston North. So who knows? Maybe one day we'll find myself up there for a bit. And brother Steve Smith says David the Mod in there as well. Ball about to be fed in. The back for England. Blake Boylan, one more off to Will Homer. Nice step, almost breaking through that defence, but Leroy Carter does drag him down. Another penalty for sealing off against England. That has certainly been something that has gone well and truly wrong. Will Homer's looking around going, boys, keep the hands off the ground. It's not going our way. Now 3 minutes left. Roka-Lisoa about to kick this one for touch. They don't mind just waiting a little bit longer for a couple subs to be made. Scott Curry goes off. Dylan Collier goes on. Experience. For experience. And who asked about Uganda? That was Miralita. He did ask about Uganda's ranking. When is New Zealand's senior team playing? Says Connor Crowley. So I guess, are we talking the Seven side or actually the Union side? Because they are playing next weekend up against the Springboks, which is going to be absolutely awesome to see. I don't reckon these air fryers cook chips too well, Amish. That's where they always semi-cooked at best, says Steve Smith. Now, I do agree with you to a certain extent for that. If you don't get the right amount of chips, they always just don't end up sitting the right way, if that makes sense. I tried wedges in there yesterday, which actually weren't bad, surprisingly, because I was worried I was going to burn the absolute daylights out of them, but they ended up all right. But I've learned you've got to only half fill it for chips, which is kind of disappointing because who wants to eat half a pottle of chips when you can have a full pottle? Che Clark just scored the try for New Zealand. I do see. Brilliant finish from him. They were trying to stop him from going over. Hayden Hyde, and also hope you're well, brother. And it was leader of Uganda. He was not a good man. Says it was David there. And Tonga or Malaysia. I think Tonga take that game, but Malaysia might push them a little bit in that contest. As Fiji, the last pool games, says Milolita. It is indeed. And then they will be heading on to their quarterfinals match. And dude, in Auckland, I have so much good stuffs and awesome commentary. So keep it going, says AL. And we certainly will be. We'll be up all of tonight doing the commentary for the Sevens. And what is better, pork or cow, says the Ninja Dude? Depends on what you get. I prefer pork sausages, but I probably prefer steak over pork steaks. That makes sense. Curly fries are good. Love the seasoning on them, says Steve Smith. I've recently actually found it is McCain fries, and they're called McCain pub style. I don't know whether or not you guys have them in Australia as well, but they're actually very nice, I learned, when you cook them up. They've got quite a bit of flavour. I didn't mind them too much. I burnt the second lot, unfortunately. I tried them in the oven, forgot about them, so they were black. But they still, I mean, even for black chips, they were all right. You know, sometimes you just got to accept the fact that you messed up and you just enjoy what you've got and just take out the ones that are just char-grilled. Tony Unshu, ball across to Roka-Lisoa, dragged down 1 minute left now. And then, did you get flooded out this week? News said the South had big floods. We did have a little bit of rain around for us, but we didn't actually get flooded for us in particular. Luckily, our house is a little bit up off the ground, but there was quite a bit of water around. Oh, wow. Che Clark has just shunted off another one of the English players, and he's got himself his second try. And I'm hungry for wedges now with sour cream, says David the Mod. Yeah, that'll be decent. That is for sure. Yep, McCain and Oz, says Nathan. So, yeah, I highly recommend the McCain pub-style seasoned fries. If you guys haven't had them, I feel like that sounded like a sponsorship. I mean, if you enjoy them, maybe we can send them a letter and say, oi, these guys got me onto your chips, maybe check them out. And good to hear New Zealand accent. Evening from Adelaide, South Australia, says AL there. So yeah, New Zealand may find themselves head-to-head with Australia in the quarterfinals. That will be an interesting contest when it does take place at about 7:30 tomorrow morning. So that will be a 5:30 a.m. start for yourself in Adelaide. Quite early, I think, for that one, but hopefully you are up and about for it as well. But Shay Clark, support team, is very happy. I hate them tonight, but not seasoned. Was the chunky one, says Hanoi. You fellas see the big screen drop onto that dance. The WDF says, sweet as. I didn't actually see it. Was it at the Sevens? Oh, England almost made a mistake once again. McGarvey Black tries to make the tackle. England now one last chance in this half to try and create some points on the board. They were kept tryless up against Samoa. The only side that they weren't kept tryless up against was Sri Lanka. And also, we have the thanks you, David. Send some my way, please. Yeah, I think I'm going to have wedges tonight now that I've put them in my mind. I don't think I'm going to be able to take them out of the mind now. Passing across once again. Nice run forward, bomb. Big contact there from Dylan Collier. Doesn't look like these two sides want to end this match. It's going to be the next game kicking off relatively soon. Tonga versus Malaysia. Then straight after that, it will be South Africa versus Scotland. Nice steps from Blake Boyland. Always wanted to try poutine. It's basically cheese, curds, gravy, and fries. It looks good. And yeah, sounds not very healthy, I guess is the best way to describe it. But sometimes those are the best things. It's like, what is it that they have overseas at like Nando's and stuff? It's that cheese halloumi, is it? I haven't had halloumi before, but it looks kind of tasty. But also, I think it's a lot of calories in a short amount of time. But then saying that, just eat it, don't you? What time do the New Zealand sisters play the Aussie girls? I believe that is at about 5:30 a.m. New Zealand time, but we will get all the information for you very soon. While that one, nice stepping. This game's still going. 2 minutes past what time it was going to be ending, and England don't want to give up. They want to finish their campaign. Oh, man, Blake Boylan's busted open out of the forehead. I think it was Dylan Collier's shot that did do it. But now England once again going back across to the other way. The number one, Jamie Adamson, dragged down once again. Good work in the breakdown, New Zealand. Oh, I think Tony Nshu's hurt his knee, or he might just be completely exhausted. Rokalisoa takes the tap, kicks it into touch, and that will be the end of this match. 20-0 to New Zealand, and they will move on to face off with Australia in the quarterfinals. But nonetheless, thank you all very much for tuning in. We will be popping straight over to Tonga versus Malaysia. So thank you all very much for being here, and I will see you all for the next one.